Solomon peeking in. How's everyone doing? Who wants to start? You guys can just unmute and ask a question. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any jokes, so I have a joke sheet if you guys got the joke sheet, but I don't have any jokes. Let's go. Who's got a question? Anybody? I'm an open book. You can ask me anything. Nice, Gerald. Rex. Yeah, I would say my biggest tip is really, hi, Kaylee. My biggest tip is to really ask yourself, where's your comfortability level with asking for Rex? So how confident do you feel in asking for them? Because for me, when I get to the Rex part of the presentation, that's when I hit my stride. Like that's when I'm feeling good. That's when I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be, is doing presentations, getting recommendations. Or I feel like when I was at the beginning of my Cutco career, that is not how I felt. Like when I got to the Rex, I was nervous. I was anxious. I didn't think they would give me any. And so when I had that mindset, as soon as I asked for Rex and they gave me one objection, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You know what? Yeah, sounds good. All right, we'll talk to you later, Mr. Jones. Have a good one. Thanks for listening today. But when you go in with the expectation of like, they're giving me Rex, that's what I'm here for, and you set the expectation, then you just feel like that's what's supposed to happen. The customer feels it. The analogy I always use, you guys, with Rex is like, it really comes down to how comfortable are you in asking for them. And the analogy I use is, let's say you're in high school and you're 18 and like your friend is throwing a party or something like that. You go upstairs to talk to your mom about going to the party, right? And you can approach her in a couple different ways. One way, you could be like, hey, so mom, Johnny's having people over, and I was wondering if I could go to his place and maybe, spend the night. And boom, like mom's already said no. She's already told you no. And how are you going to react to that? And be like, okay, yeah, sounds good. You go back downstairs to play video games. But if you walk upstairs with a puffed chest, mom, I'm going to Johnny's, I'll see you tomorrow, and you close the door on your way out, what is she going to say? Nothing. She's like, okay, have fun. It's the same with Rex. If you go in not feeling confident, the customer feels it. It's like a volleyball. They spike it back in your face. They're just not going to give you them. And so feel really good. And I'll also tell you from experience, people do give them, and people give a lot of them. It's all about changing your mindset of going in. So that's the biggest tip. Was that helpful? Did that answer your question? Good. I see some head nods. That's good feedback. Thank you. All right. Who else has a question?
Okay,
on that note, or a different one? Quentin, what's up?
How do you like to handle the "we want to think about it" objection?
It's classic, right? We want to think about it. Is that for Rex? We want to think about giving you Rex?
For the sale.
Oh, for the sale? Oh, that's the easy one. So that's the easy one. You say, great. That's awesome. What is it that you want to think about? You straight up ask them, like, what is it that you want to think about? And they're going to give you an answer, and it's going to be probably superficial. Any objection comes down to two things. They're not comfortable with the price, or they're not comfortable with the pieces. That's it. There's really nothing else. And so you just have to find a way past their words. And really, when they say that they're going to think about it, it usually comes down to the price of like, okay, we just have to think about if we want to spend this much money, or the pieces of, oh, we got to think about if we would actually use all these pieces. Either way, for you to make the sale, it has to be a no-brainer. They have to be on the same wavelength. They have to be all in. So if you want to ask them, what I always say, this is from Siggy Steve, the legend himself. He says, Mrs. Jones, I totally respect that. What is it that you want to think about? Do you think it might be a little too much money, or a little too many pieces. And if they say neither, which sometimes they might be like, well, it's not that. You're like, okay. So on a scale of 1 to 9, not 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 9, where are you in buying this set from me right now? 1 being, Alex, we're not actually going to buy the Cutco. We're just totally kind of pulling your leg. 9 being, your credit card you just can't get your credit card out of your pocket right now. Where do you fall on that scale, 1 to 9? If they're a 7 and above, you actually have them. You just have to do something. You have to lower the price. You have to call your manager, get a special. If they're 7 or above, you actually have that customer. If they're 6 or lower, all you have to do is drop down. And it really is that simple, and that should fix the whole think about thing. You gotta figure out what they're thinking about, because there's something there, whether it's price or pieces, that they just don't feel 100% comfortable yet. So I see some head nods. Did that answer your question, Quentin? Cool. Awesome. All right. Anyone else? I mean, who next is what I mean.
Any recommendations on being able to type out the like list faster? Because I've watched your video on it, but I'm not very good at typing.
Yes, Dakota. I don't know if I have there's a freetypingtest.com. There's actually some lessons on there.
It's mostly because I broke my really nice keyboard and now I'm using a laptop keyboard then.
Oh, I would say then just maybe buy a new keyboard. Like it's probably worth the investment. I don't know how much a nice keyboard is. I don't think there's a faster way. Maybe if you think it's faster to write on paper, you could always hold it up. That's what I do sometimes too. But that's probably the way that I do it. There might be a more efficient way. I feel like that is the most efficient way of typing it on the screen with the Zoom thing. But I probably is honestly worth your investment in a new keyboard. Sorry about your old one. Who else? Or did that help at all, Dakota? Not really.
A little bit. I set it up on a Google document and I have that saved so I don't have to type the beginning.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's actually really good. That's a tip I could probably have. Having a template that you just share instead. That's good. You guys all hear that? I just learned that. That's actually really good. Good idea. Very good. I'm actually going to steal that. All right. Who else? Who next? Marino?
I got nothing, man.
All right. Come on, guys. I only run a roundtable 3 times a year. What questions do you have for me?
Alex, I got one.
What's up, Ryan?
Do you or how do you incorporate names and uses for the specialty knives in like the complete set? It's like, oh, this is our complete set. It comes with your 10 basic homemaker tools. It also comes with, do you like go through them all, or do you kind of like pick a couple or do something with that?
That's a great question. I think it depends where the customer, I think this comes back to the cooking rapport that Elliot was talking about, knowing what the customer does in the kitchen. If it's someone that I know I can hit hot buttons with, like let's say, for example, I live in a pretty rural area. A lot of people have gardens. And so if they're growing butternut squash, it's pretty easy to sell the veggie knife, right? Or if I know they fish a lot, pretty easy to sell the salmon knife. And so knowing what their hot buttons are, those knives I'll go in full detail and I'll watch them get lit up. And like Elliot was saying too, it's all about the idea of selling the set. And so with the complete set, you don't really have to go into a ton of detail about each piece. What I would almost recommend more of is going a little briefer on the homemaker pieces, and then selling, when you get to the complete set, selling the idea of, hey, Mrs. Jones, this is the complete set. I would go back to Elliot's slideshow and study that a little bit of how he phrases the set as a whole, because to sell the complete set, you don't really have to go into too much detail in the pieces, because honestly, that sometimes is counterproductive, because then they get confused and there's no way they remember all the uses for all the pieces. So if I can hit hot buttons, I'll do it, but I don't go too much into detail. Does that help, Ryan?
Yeah, that's
Good.
solid.
Cool. Cool. Did that help anyone else? Nice. Bobbleheads on Zoom.
All right, I got another one.
Yep. What's up, Quentin?
All right, so how do you, let's say like you've closed someone on like knives, any tips for upselling people on cookware and flatware after they're already closed on a set?
Yeah, totally. Love that question, because that's something I'm really trying to implement right now myself. The first thing I would say is changing your perspective a little bit from upselling to upserving. And this was something I read on a Facebook. There's a cool Facebook group. It's called FSM Magic. I encourage you all to join it, but it's a bunch of people who've sold a bunch of Cutco in their life that just post tips and stuff in it. It's awesome. It's called, I think, FSM Magic, but look it up. Hans Hilton, who sold millions of dollars of Cutco, he had a post in there one day, and it was like, changing your perspective to when Mrs. Jones buys knives, that is when your job starts, because you are only doing a disservice to Mrs. Jones if she doesn't buy everything we make from you today. Because if she goes any more days of her life without Cutco cookware, she's missing out on a quality of life. Like, and you have to believe that as well. So it can't be superficial. You actually have to believe that, but I believe that. And so that's a perspective shift of like upserving instead of upselling. And then when you close on the knives, that's when the fun begins. And so my biggest tip would be learn more about the products for sure. And then also just be really comfortable talking about them. You don't have to go into a ton of detail, but knowing about the products for when questions or objections come up, that's really big. I also will, did you guys grab Elliot's selling big sets, closing big sets document? I'm going to share it in the group one more time here, but I would just use this. I honestly have this pulled up during my demos, and that's all you need right there as far as like transitions, what to say. And there's a lot of really good stuff. You guys know who Bert Wicks is, the CSP from North Star? That's actually all of his stuff. And he sells over $500,000 a year. So pretty credible, but that's a document right there that should help a ton. So if that answer didn't really answer, that document should be able to really help you out. All right, Kaylee, do you have a question?
I do actually. So I've had a lot of people that like have a hard stop or they have to end like right after an hour. Is there any way that you can like shorten your demos while still like getting through it all?
It's a good question and a really valid question, because it's not very fun for anyone when you go over the time that you say. What do you usually say when you book the demo with them?
You mean like when I'm phoning?
Yeah.
I mean, generally I just say like it's a Zoom appointment, it's all virtual. I try to make it around an hour. But I don't know. Usually it's like they'll say something right at the beginning of the call. They're like, oh, by the way, like once we're already on the demo, they say I only have an hour or so.
Gotcha. I would say it starts with, you can set the expectation at the initial phone call a little bit, which is like, you could little phrases like, my part only takes an hour, because that gives the expectation of, hey, my part's an hour, but it might take longer. And that might help a little bit. Something I would say about shortening the demo, I think that we in North Star do a little different of a demo than Lakeshore, because you guys use my Cutco demo, right? Or your Cutco demo?
Yeah, like the Lakeshore manual.
Yeah, we use a little different one, but I think it's all like basically the same stuff. I will say kind of what I was saying before with the homemaker, you don't necessarily need to go into super great detail about each knife, because the idea is selling them the set. And so you want them to understand what each piece is used for, but also you can go a little bit quicker on each piece just because the idea overall is selling this set. And there's so many people out there. Today I visited my mom at work because I'm actually like back home for the weekend, and she works at a school. And one of her coworkers walked into her office when I was there, and she was talking about how she needs new knives. And I was like, oh yeah, like I might know a guy or whatever. And she's like, well, we have a set on the counter. And I was like, oh yeah, what's in it? And she's like, well, I don't really know what all the pieces are, but we do have a set. And so like, that's a really normal thing for a person to get a set of knives. And so just having that perspective as well of like, it's normal for someone to buy a set because when you go in a store to buy knives, right, you don't pick out individual ones, you buy a set in a box. So you can go a little quicker maybe on the pieces. That might help.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Ryan Pena.
What's up, Alex?
Any questions, man?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Matthew Allen, what about you?
Haven't thought of any so far, but we'll let
Hey
you know.
guys, get this. Matthew Allen here wrote me a thank you card for my YouTube videos and sent it to me in the mail. How
You
sweet
make
is that?
YouTube videos?
Yeah. I have a couple
What's
out
your,
there.
do you like still upload?
Yeah, I just uploaded a new one the other day.
What's your
Here,
YouTube channel?
I'll send the channel in the.
You gotta plug it.
There you go. I try to plug it every now and then.
Videos are fire. The likeless videos fire.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate
That is
it.
my favorite one I've watched so far.
Really? Wow, I don't
Yeah.
get a lot of feedback on the videos.
I like
And I
that
don't-
one or the Rex one.
I don't
That's
even
just
know who
fire. That's
watches
the first one I
them.
saw.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, see, I know that people are watching them because I see the views go up sometimes, but I don't know who it's helping.
Dude, you have like 2,000 views on one of these videos. That's insane.
That was
I
one
like
of
the
the-
podcast videos too. Those
You
are
watch
nice.
those?
Yeah.
That's sick. That's awesome. Yep. Alex, great name. Any questions?
How do you handle like the I need to talk to my husband or spouse objection? Because like I know what it says on here, but do you have anything like different that you potentially do or any advice on that?
Yeah, that's a tough objection. That is one that you more times than not won't get through too. It's a tough one to handle. What I would say, there's a couple ways around it. You probably can't get through it, if that makes sense, but there's a couple ways around it. Number one is the first initial when you call to book the demo, being really diligent about getting both people. I think is really, really important. And even when you book it, this is something that when I'm booking them, it feels good when you book a demo, right? You get that little adrenaline rush. But being conscious enough to be like, hey, by the way, is Mr. Jones going to be there as well? Oh, he's not. Shoot. How does Friday at 7 look? Would he be around for that time? Oh, he wouldn't. What time would you both be able to be there? And just asking for what you want. I think that's really important. So getting them there both first is the first thing, because then you'll have to deal with an objection, right? And then the other thing is pre-handling it. If it is just one person, which happens, especially in the virtual world, like you're not always going to get both people, even if you try really hard for it. Pre-handling it with, I think it's literally in the script. I read the script word for word. I don't have my script on me, so I can't tell you what it says. I still read it. But what does it say again? Mrs. Jones, we can't always see both spouses together. So you can try
on the forever guarantee page.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah, we
about.
can always see both spouses together. That's why
That way
we
you can
have
try
the-
it out together
way
for
to try
a
it
few
out
weeks.
for a
Like,
few weeks. It's free. Make sure you both love it.
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also just trying to pre-handle it as much as you can. And then when it comes up, here's the only handling I have to the actual objection, in case you still get it, is create comfort in the situation is really important. So when Mrs. Jones says like, I love the set. I love the signature set so much. I just have to talk to, we don't buy things without each other's approval first, would you saying that? and you say, Mrs. Jones, I hear you. You don't make big purchases without Mr. Jones. And she says, yeah. And I say, that makes sense. I wouldn't want my wife going and buying $2,000 in knives without my approval. So I feel you. Hey, today, maybe not this set then. Let's go down. Let's look at some smaller options. Here's something a lot of Cutco owners do, Mrs. Jones. They might start with a smaller set and build it up over time. The great thing with Cutco, it's kind of like Costco. Once you have the smaller set, you can get that signature set down the road and it'll cost you the exact same amount of money. And so I'll work with you when that situation comes up, but let's go down to the homemaker, and maybe this one feels a little bit more comfortable. And if that one doesn't, you literally just talk her out of the homemaker. Say, you know what, today I don't even think that's a good idea either. Let's go down. Let's look at the galley set. This one may make a little bit more sense. And so instead of trying to talk them into the set, you're actually talking them out of it into something smaller. And it'll Mrs. Jones will feel better about it. And she'll know that, like, you're on her side. You don't care if she buys without Mr. Jones, but if she does want that big set, her and Mr. Jones someday can upgrade to it. So does that help? Cool.
I have another question that popped up from that though.
Yep.
So what if you bring that up during like phoning, like, oh, is Mr. Jones gonna be there? And they're like, yeah, he was not gonna be interested in that, or oh, like, we're not usually home at the same time together, or something else where like, yeah, my husband isn't gonna like this or want to participate in it, or anything like that, basically.
Yeah, great question. First, what's up, Harrison and Katie? How are you guys? And Kaylee's back.
Feeling like $1 million.
That's good. That's the best way to feel. I think. I don't know what $1 million feels like, but sounds good. Anyway, Alex, back to your question. Kaylee, welcome back. Nestor, what's up? Nestor, what office are you in?
The Brook.
LeBrook?
Yeah, Oakbrook.
Oakbrook. Okay, Oakbrook. That's not Seabass.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Seabass?
Yeah, he took over.
Okay, nice. I didn't know that. Okay, Alex, back to your question. Asking about what if Mrs. Jones says Mr. Jones isn't interested? Yeah, I would say there's not many ways around that one. What I always say, and you guys can feel how you want to about this, but I believe it is true. I think number one rule in sales, don't lie, ever. Always sell with integrity, because if you do lie or bend the truth, like, it's going to catch you, and it's not going to feel good when it catches you. But I say with integrity, I say, hey, Mrs. Jones, he doesn't even have to watch the whole thing, but if he's just there at the beginning, just for at least the beginning portion, I actually get double credit for showing you the Cutco. Why do you get double credit? Because you have double the chance to make a sale. So essentially, to me, that is true. You're getting double credit because you have double the chance to make a sale because you have two people there. That's what I say. And why do I say just the beginning? Because once Mr. Jones hops on and he hears my goal sharing or your goal sharing, that's hook, line, and sinker. You got him. And I don't, he might walk away, but at least you gave yourself a chance to see both of them. So that's the one thing I would say. I feel like you can say double credit. I really do. I feel good about that. Harrison, you have a question?
Do you have any tips of just kind of like pulling yourself out of a rut?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have a great tip. Actually, I have a YouTube video on that, in case you guys don't know. Here's my channel. Who told me I need to plug it more? Was that you, Kaylee? There it is. But I'd say my number one tip, Harrison, is don't try to do it by yourself. I think that the analogy I like to use when people ask me about that, or when I know someone who's in a rut, is like, let's say that you are walking down the street and you fall into an 8-foot hole, right? There's no ladder. Like, you physically cannot get out of that hole by yourself. All you'll do is drive yourself crazy trying. But if you reach up, call for help, someone can hand you a ladder and you can crawl out one step at a time. And I think that's the same thing with getting out of a rut, whether it's in Cutco, whether it's in life, asking for help, being vulnerable enough to ask questions. If it's a sales rut, like all the managers have sold a bunch of Cutco. they know how to help you get out of it. And if it assistant managers, they know how to help you get out of it. There's so many resources out there that can help you get out of it. And from a non like emotional side of the question, I would say if it's a sales rut, just going into the demos with the expectation of having fun. I remember SC2, I was doing a demo right here at this desk, and Jack Ryan, who if anyone was here for SC2, he did 104 demos in 17 days. Legendary stuff. He walked downstairs because we did SC2 together, listened to my demo. I didn't sell anything, and I was pissed. Okay, I'm sorry if anyone's offended, but I was so mad. I was like, I don't know what's going on, dude. Like, I'm literally 0 for 8 to start this push. I'm like, I've never gone 0 for 8 in my life. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I was all up in a panic. And he said, well, yeah, bro. Like, he broed me. He's like, yeah, bro, you have CPO breath right now. And so Danny Lewis. And what he was saying when he said you have CPO breath is that he could tell my one objective in the demo was to get a sale. And sometimes when you're at that 0 for 6 mark or 0 for 7, like you're in that slump, like you're saying, like you start to get in that mindset of I just need a sale to get out of this. And
Cutting boards.
Mrs. Jones can feel that. And so that's the one thing I'll say is go back to having fun, go into the demo with the right intention. And that's to make a connection, make a friend, and good things will happen then. Does that help? I know there's 2 answers to that, Harrison.
That's good. Hey, Alex, really quick, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you inspire? How many of you are learning a lot from Mr. Alex Funk? Isn't he wonderful? He's probably got the best smile in the whole Midwest. Seriously. Look at those cheeks. Look at those cheeks. See those cheeks? Happy. See, so you can do this. This will embarrass him. He doesn't like this. How do I do it? I can't. Oh, can I? There he is. Peekaboo. Oh, wait, can you guys spotlight him? No, do I not? I pinned him. Oh, I guess you can't.
Yeah, you
That's
can't.
all I was trying to do. Okay, I don't know how to do that. Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we want to do. Alex, can you please encourage them to just schedule 5? Do you know about this?
No. What is that?
So if they book up at least 5 demos for Saturday and Sunday tonight, if they walk into the meeting tomorrow with at least 5 demos booked, they get their name to a drawing win $100.
Really?
Benjamin. Okay. Now, if I was Alex Funk, it would have been different because he's like, what, 100? That's so few. He'd be like, where are the other ones? I go, I don't know. Hold on, wait. I'll get their friends. But we're only doing one contest for 100. Okay. So we're just going to do one nester. Okay. Not all of them. Kaylee, we don't go shopping. I like coupons. Buy 1, get 9 free. That's my style. Okay. But seriously, Alex is wonderful. He's great. But can we all please do this? Can you all schedule 5 demos, please? Mr. Harper, maybe. All right. That sounds great. Okay, cool. 5 demos for the weekend. Alex, how easy is it to book up 5 demos for the weekend, especially when it's like cold and like yucky McGucky outside?
It is cold and yucky McGucky up here.
It is, right?
It's the 2 easiest days to book 5. That's what
Why are weekends the best days, Alex Funk, to do demos?
Because Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones are feeling good.
Yeah.
Just like selling
on Friday.
Just like selling on holidays, selling on the weekend. They're feeling good. They're feeling like, when do people go to Home Depot and upgrade their house on the weekends? They're in that mood.
Giddy up. All right, sounds good. All right, cool. All right, go have fun. Enjoy, and I will see you all soon, okay? Alex, nice seeing you. Thank you for the birthday.
Yeah, nice to see you, Danny.
Cool. All right, bye, everybody. Keep learning lots. Have fun. And phone like champions tonight, okay? Just make the commitment to be wonderful. Thank you.
There it is. All right, who's next? Who's got next? Harrison passed the baton. Call on someone.
I have a couple more questions.
Dakota, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do if someone is literally trying to end the phone call while you're on the phone with them? And you know they would be like the perfect person. I had a family member literally try and end a phone call while I was on the phone with them. And I was like, what? What is happening? They were mad because I was trying to sell them something.
Was it a demo or the initial phone call?
The initial phone call.
How many times has that happened?
Probably like 5 times to me. I've had it happen to a few of the sales reps that I'm now an assistant manager. So I've heard it quite a few times.
How many Okay, so it's happened like 5 times. What does it sound like? Like, give me a play-by-play. I'm gonna take you back to a not fun place.
I've had it happen a few different ways. Either they consistently interrupt me and they're just trying to get the phone call over with, so I can't do the firm up. I don't have an opportunity to do the firm up. Or they're just like, absolutely not. And they literally, I've had one person hang up on me. I was like, what? Okay, then.
Did you book the demo with them?
No.
Oh, that happens, right?
Yeah.
Hey, who here has got rejected on the phone? I have.
I've had a lot of people reject me, but they at least let me speak.
I
My
would
problem
say-
is when they like don't let me speak.
I would say that number one, that's not fun. So like your feelings are valid. I don't think anyone here would enjoy being rushed off the phone. That sucks. So when I acknowledge like that's not fun. The second thing I'll say is it happens. I mean, you never know like how that person's day was before you called. And so one way that I always like to, number one, don't take anything personally in life. I think that's a really good tip to live by, is like nobody is ever really thinking about how the other person feels, but we're always conscious about how we feel, right? Like there are obviously you think about how other people feel, but you're always conscious about how you yourself feels. So not taking it personally. The other thing I'll say with that, I had a good tip, but oh no, train of thought. It was good too. It was really good, you guys. Yes. Always remembering, this is something that my mom, it was like my fast start. And I was phoning, I was super nervous. I was like shaking. And my mom came down. She's like, why do you sound so nervous? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just scared that people are going to say no. And she's like, well, so what? She's like, you haven't seen Lisa Poster in 2 years. Why do you care if she says no on the phone? I'm like, oh, like that's good perspective to have. And then the other thing she said to me was, if you got called right now, so let's say Dakota, you called me to schedule a demo, right? Or let's say I called you, Dakota, to schedule a demo. What are the odds out of 10 that you book that demo with me? Like, what are the odds that you feel like you have the time to do the demo? Because if someone called me to book a demo, and this just happened, someone called to do a HelloFresh demo with me. I got referred by another manager for them to do a HelloFresh demo with me. And I was like, man, I would love to watch to help them. I just don't know if I have the time. And I said, can you call me back in a month? We're in winter break.
Especially with the trip.
Yeah,
right?
I was like,
Because you're going.
yeah, this was during winter break push, but I was like, can you call me back? We're just in a push period right now. And so I think that helps put in perspective of like, when people do say yes, how grateful you can be and how grateful you should be for it. Just because it's actually remarkable how many people make the time to see our presentation and enjoy it and laugh with us and have fun. And it makes the no's feel a lot better when you realize the yeses, how special that is. So I think that's good perspective to have too. I see some head nods. So I think that might've been helpful. Did that help you, Dakota? To answer your question?
Noah also said if they keep interrupting you, just pretend like you don't hear them interrupting you. That's what my manager said. So just keep talking.
Yeah, I think that's good. I would say also hear them. I would say that's really hear them speak.
I normally try and finish my sentence and then I'll ask what they were saying.
Yeah, I think that's good. It's a good strategy.
You know what my division manager says if they hang up on you?
What?
He says, call them back and say, hey, I think I got disconnected there. And then just pick
I
up.
do that. I literally do that. And one time, it wasn't me, it was Elliot. He got hung up on and he's like, oh, double taps him quick. I'm like, okay. And they literally picked up and he goes, hey, I think we got disconnected. And Mrs. Jones then booked the demo with Elliot. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me right now. There's no way that was a disconnection. Like there's absolutely no way, but it worked. So
Book the
yeah,
demo.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Philly B taught you that? What a legend. What a legend. Katie, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about emotional management, but that was already covered. So my next question for you is tips on calling recommendations, because I'm just getting there now where I'm starting to call recommendations. So what's like your biggest nug for that?
Cool. Yeah, I think my biggest one with that is, let me pull up my script. This is how I like to start the combo. Hey, Kaylee, I don't know if my name rings a bell, but I was talking to Katie and she said that you were really nice and that you might be able to help me out with something I'm doing for school. Did Katie let you know I was going to give you a call, Kaylee?
Yes, she did.
Say no, just in case.
Oh, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, she didn't? Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I'm sorry for calling out of the blue, Kaylee. And then every time Mrs. Jones says, oh, it's fine. Hey, you're fine. What's up?
Oh, totally okay.
Yeah, every time. So I think just like going into the call with a smile and being like, hey, I was just talking to, I like to make it seem so casual. Like, oh, hey, I was just talking to Katie and she said that you were really nice, right? Get him in a good mood. And that you might, and they laugh. They're like, oh, geez, you're kidding. And I'm like, and she said you might be able to help me out with something I'm doing for school. So, or not even for school. I'm not in school anymore. She might be able to help me out with something I'm doing.
Yeah, I get it. Thanks.
I just made
I
hundreds of phone calls. So
I
yeah.
hate making phone calls too. That's why I was asking.
So yeah, that's what I would say. Just really with phoning, I think the biggest tip is just have a smile on your face. Smile while you dial. Same with your demo. You're going to sell more if you're going in with a big smile on your face. Be cheesy, have fun. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Did that help? Any other questions on it?
No, not right now. Thanks.
All right. Nestor, I don't think you asked a question yet. Do you have one?
Yeah, I guess I would say, sorry, I needed to clear my throat.
Yeah, that's all right.
So, how was your first summer branching?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, there's too much. I could talk about that for days just because I remember Danny Lewis asked me one time, like, what'd you learn today? And I was, you learn something new every day. I think it was really cool because I bounced around majors in college from finance to accounting to marketing to sports management, which isn't like management. It's like running events and things. I never would have went to school for management ever. And so to get that experience in something I never saw myself doing was pretty special. And yeah, I will always look back on that summer. I literally was driving home today from the cities thinking about some of the reps we worked with last summer. And it just brings me back to like a special place in my heart. I think of Katie Mouse, I think of Austin Clues, Frankie Tomzik. They didn't sell for a long time, but like I will never forget them and the impact that we were able to make in their life. And yeah, though, like I had reps from last summer text me happy birthday this year, and I haven't talked to them in months. And like that's special knowing that you were able to leave an impact like that on people and also a community. And yeah, I'll hold that in my heart forever. It was awesome. Great experience. Kind of like doing an internship, except you have the chance to make a lot of money and actually like build from the ground up. It's hard to fail at it, which is really cool. Yeah, I appreciate that question. Takes me back to a warm place. Ryan, I saw you unmuted. Harper.
Yeah, when do you do your cooking report? What they cook, where in the demo, and what is your approach?
I love that because I actually have experimented with doing it in 2 different places. I think there are 2 good places you can do it. It all depends what you want out of it. There is right before the homemaker pieces, I think is one good option. What I'm doing right now is at the beginning because it gives me a chance to naturally bring it up in conversation with them before I actually even show them Cutco. And it also gives me the chance to say, I like throwing in little tidbits like, yeah, sorry for interrogating you on your kitchen. I just wanted to make sure I showed you stuff you actually care about. Right? Because then it's like, and it also, that will pique their interest a little bit where it's like, oh, he's not just going to ramble for the next hour. Now he knows what I cook. He said that he'll keep that in mind, which you actually literally can do, because if you know that they use a peeler on their carrots, you can emphasize the heck out of the peeler. But if you know they use a paring knife on their carrots, you're not going to talk about the peeler. Oh, wait, no, potatoes. Nobody uses a paring knife on carrots. Sorry. You get the point though. So yeah, I think it's valid to do it in two different places. Kind of depends what you want out of it. I like to use it as a point to open Mrs. Jones up like wildflower. And I like to ask anything and everything about their kitchen. And I'll post in the chat room right now the cooking report questions that I ask, if you guys want to copy them or something. But yeah, that help? Is that good?
Yeah, that's solid. I'll do it right after common problems of knives. So like I'll go dull knives. Have any of your knives gone dull? Of course they have. What are some foods that you have trouble cutting?
That's good. Yeah.
And then after foods they've had trouble cutting with, I'll go to, okay, now what are some foods you like to cut?
Also good. Yeah, I think that with cooking rapport, it's all about streamlining it wherever you as the demo giver feel comfortable in streamlining it in, whatever's natural in conversation for you. That's why I've bounced it around in different places. But what's one thing that's really important is that you do it. Asking those questions, getting those answers, using that ammunition. Like I talked about in the video of the like list, it's like that is what you're using to sell the Cutco. Because even today, when that lady walked in, my mom's, for those of you who are on here, when I said that lady walked in and said she needed new knives, I was like, oh, I can show you the presentation. I'll make it quick for you. And she's like, well, I don't really know if I want to see the presentation. I just want to buy knives. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but I also just need to know what you cook so that you buy stuff that you'll use. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah. Like, I don't want to sell you stuff you won't use. That doesn't serve anybody, even me. Then those are sales you feel bad about. When it's like, everyone's better off with Cutco, but you know what I mean. Okay. All right. Did that help?
I have a question.
What's up, Matt?
Yeah. How do you go about presenting to somebody, like if they have already said, oh, I wouldn't be interested in kitchen knives or whatever, but they'd be interested in the outdoor knives or the gardening tools or something. How do you go about kind of setting up a presentation for maybe one specific part of our product line?
I don't know if I've ever actually done that. I don't know if a situation like that's come up for me, which is crazy to say because I've done probably 350 demos at this point. But I think it's important to you have the opportunity to build value in Cutco when you go through all the knife stuff. I think it's so valid when you go through all the knife stuff, as in the features and benefits and junk knives, and that is applicable to any kitchen item because it shows the quality of Cutco. So even if you were doing a hunting knife presentation, it's showing the features and benefits of our kitchen knives and talking about junk knives. Those things are applicable to hunting knives. And so I think even if you're just trying to sell a hunting and fishing knife, brushing on all the other things is really important. And you might get a sale out of it on kitchen stuff because it's the same as when Mrs. Jones says, I'm not going to buy anything. It's like, yeah, remember when you said, yeah. Because I have a lot of pair of shoes, but if someone called and said, can I show you shoes or whatever, and I say, sure, and then they show me the world's best pair of shoes, I'd be like, oh, wait. I'd be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll buy some of this stuff too. Oh, wait, that didn't answer your question. But yeah, you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? Cool. Yeah, that's what I would say. There's a lot of value in talking about Cutco because you just got to hit hot buttons to sell any of the products. So hot buttons, show solutions equals sale. Problem plus solution equals sale. That is the Pythagorean theorem of Cutco sales right there. That's a Pythagorean theorem. That's a big word, huh? For a dropout. Just kidding. Well, I did. Okay. Any other questions? Last question, actually. Who's got the last one? Who wants it? Who's got the microphone? Anointed one. Who is it? Come on. Someone. Oh, cooking report. Thank you. Yes. Intro. Okay. Someone ask a question while I pull this up. This is the last one. You may never ask me a question again.
Does it have to be related to Cutco?
No, whatever you want.
Where'd you drop out of? Where did you go to school?
I went to Mankato, but I just didn't have a purpose. Like I was just going there spending money on tuition, and I started in sports management because I wanted to work for the Vikings, and then I got a job with the Vikings, and then I realized it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I quit the job, and then I was like, well, now what? My whole dream in life is ruined.
Sure.
So I just did what everyone else did and kept spending money on tuition, switched to marketing, found vector marketing. So it worked out. And I was like, switched to finance, switched to accounting, and then finally school got online. And so instead of switching to online school, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ride the rocket ship of Cutco and sell as many knives as I can. And that's
you. That's awesome.
That's where we are now.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't easy. It was not an easy decision.
Yeah.
But I haven't even thought about it since. But I always say that school's so valuable as long as you have a purpose. Like I just didn't have a purpose. So I was, yeah. Okay, here's my cooking report. All right. There's a menu. You don't have to ask all of them. You actually shouldn't ask all of them. But there's some questions for you. You don't ask all of them. I'll tell you that right now. Pick your favorite ones. All right, guys. I'm gonna go eat dinner with my mom because I'm at home. And so love you guys. Thanks for being here, especially those who were on the whole time hanging out with me. That's awesome. I appreciate it. It'd have been boring if I sat here by myself. Huh? Here's my YouTube one last time. I appreciate any feedback, and I would love if you guys texted me ideas of what videos I should make next. Here's my phone number. Matthew Allen, you already have it. And if you guys have Cutco questions, please text me and ask me. I remember when Siggy Steve just won a silver cup. He gave me his number a couple of years ago, and he's like, dude, text me whenever, ask me any questions. So I did. I literally asked him questions all the time, and he always answered. Like, maybe not for a couple of days sometimes, but I thought that was so cool. So I wish I could be your guys' Siggy Steve. If you have questions, text me. And then also give me ideas for that channel, because sometimes I just I'm trying to get stuff out there before I get too busy to help people. But sometimes I don't know what, All right. Peace.
Peace, bro. Good to meet you.
Yes. Nice to meet you guys. All of you.
Bye.
All of you. So, all right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for all the advice.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always.